Yuji is our main character, and he attends an occult study group. That is, he dabbles with his friends by summoning spirits. Megumi is given the task of searching for a cursed object, its traces leading to the school. Itadori is enrolled in an athletics class to compete against his teacher. Yuji wins. The boy has a grandfather who is very ill, and because of the illness he lies in the hospital, where Yuji visits every day. His grandfather, before he died, asked his grandson to save people, to help everyone. Despite the tragedy, Yuji remained optimistic. Megumi found the cursed object, the schoolboy had it. The contents of the box, the object itself was with friends from the club, they were going to print it out. That would get them killed. Upon unpacking it, the boys found a human finger inside. Yuji and Megumi were already running to their aid. The school was engulfed by a cursed force, with a monster roaming inside. A magical student burst into the building and confronted the curse. Yuji couldn't just stand by and wait, he had to do something. Megumi summoned 2 wolves to his aid. Grandpa's words swirled around in the boy's head, and he pounced on the monster with his bare hands. Together, the 2 of them overpowered the spirit. Yuji could see spirits and curses, not everyone can do that. The demon was very strong, it almost killed Megumi. Then Yuji ate the cursed finger and became more powerful. With his power he destroyed the curse. To be more precise, it wasn't Yuji who got the power, but the power took hold of the boy's body. Teacher Gojo himself came to the rescue. He gave Yuji the task of swapping his body with the monster and then coming back. The meeting was more than successful. Gojo decided to take the boy with him. Itadori, according to magical law, must be executed. But such a vessel, capable of containing a two-faced one, was a pity to lose. Gojo proposed a deal: either the boy would be killed now, or after he absorbed all the cursed parts of the two-faced one. Yuji chose the second option. He wants to fulfill his grandfather's last request, to save as many people as possible. One of the parts of the curse was already in the teacher's possession and Yuji absorbed it. For starters, Itadori will be transferred to a magic school for further training. Now you have to go through an interview with the headmaster. It was not possible to pass it the first time, the guy was attacked by the principal's curse. To get in, you have to pass this mini exam, you have to convince the principal to take him as a student. And he succeeded. Yuji wasn't the only one admitted to the school today, and so they went to meet freshman Nobara. Well, now that everyone is here, we can begin our first task. Gojo gave Yuji a weapon, since it's dangerous to let a two-faced man out all the time. They went to the building together with Nobaru. They decided to split up as something had already attacked Yuji from behind. The knife came in handy. Nobaru also stumbled upon a curse. It was in the form of a dummy, her weapon was a carpenter's kit. Behind the boxes, Nobaru saw a child being grabbed by another monster. Yuji came to the girl's rescue and rescued the child. Using the voodoo technique, Nobaru destroyed the curse. What a team effort! As a child, Nobaru became friends with Saori, who was a kind and sweet girl. But for some reason the locals didn't like the girl and banished her from the village. Since then, the village disgusted Nobaru, and she looked for any way to escape from there. A terrible curse has appeared that even ordinary people without magic can see. This curse is assigned a special level, the most dangerous level. There is no one who can cope with this curse. It was decided to send the students of the magic school. The curse was located in the prison grounds, which meant all the prisoners were held hostage by it. Once inside the enemy zone, there was no way out except to defeat the curse. Nobaru got sucked in somewhere. A monster appeared next to the boys, cutting off Yuji's arm. Nobaru ended up in some dark room with enemies. Yuji asked the faceless man for help, except he refused the offer. The enemy was very strong, even Megumi was shocked. Itadori came up with a plan: his friends should escape while he stalled for time, and then give his body to the faceless man. Yuji couldn't handle the onslaught of the attack. It was now possible to surrender or keep fighting to the end. Grandfather said to protect the weak, Yuji must do his will and not give up. The boys have already escaped, now it's up to the faceless man. He can't let some pathetic monster bully him. Under the influence of the curse, Itadori leveled his strength and quickly broke his opponent, taking another piece of the faceless man. The curse is defeated, and Yuji's body is still in the faceless man's possession. He got the guy's heart and thus took him hostage. If he switched back, he would die. Megumi needs to get the faceless man to restore his heart, then Itadori will return to his body. Defeating the faceless man wasn't that easy. After all, he also belongs to a special level. His powers and abilities were much better than Megumi's. Despite this, he is obligated to save Yuji. The boy returned to his body and immediately died of blood loss. It's more likely that Yuji's death was the fault of the management, who didn't like Gojo's plan right away. The freshmen came to see the sophomores. Zenin, Panda, and Toge. They came to call the guys for a meeting with another school. There the students have to compete with each other, you can do anything except kill. Inside Yuji there was an altercation between the boy and the faceless man. The argument quickly turned into a fight, where the kid lost to the curse. The faceless man offered some kind of terms on which Yuji could return to life by agreeing to them. The monster clearly has some sort of agenda. Despite this, the kid agreed to the demon's terms. At the morgue, Yuji wakes up from death. Gojo asked to leave a note in the paperwork that the kid was dead. Suguru and his curse want to destroy Jyojo and subdue Yuji. Training before the exchange with the other school began. And Yuji begins his own personal training with Jyojo's teacher. The boy has a talent for martial arts in his body, and he needs to develop it. He also needs to learn how to control the flow of cursed energy, which he will learn through various emotional movies. On the way to the headmaster's house, Jyojo was attacked by one cursed spirit, the same one that wanted to kill him. Logically, why else would he be attacked? The spirit turned out to be from the special caste. Just the right complexity to match the teacher, the strongest mage. There was a kind of emptiness hovering around Gojo, which prevented the spirit from approaching him. Since the spirit had finished attacking, it was time for the teacher. The mage brought Yuji with him. He had mastered energy control perfectly, it was time to get acquainted with the expansion of the territory. The spirit dragged the mage into his territory. The lesson began. This technique takes a lot of energy, enhances the spirit's strength, and any attacks hit the target. In a counterattack, Jyojo used his territorial expansion then crushed the spirit, leaving only its head for questioning. Another cursed spirit, Hanami, rushed to the aid of his comrade in arms. He grabbed Yuji and his associate's head, but the teacher quickly wrestled them away from him. The lesson went very well. The freshmen finally met their future rivals at the exchange program. The guy attacked Megumi, and the girl attacked Nobaru. A fight ensued between the guys, a real melee. Tadu was the stronger of the two. Toga and the panda came to the rescue. Gojo went to the headmaster's office to tell him about the recent incident. A month later, 3 mutilated corpses of a schoolboy were found in a movie theater. Yoshino is a humble schoolboy who is bullied by his classmates. If only he could somehow stand up to them. And so it was as if his thoughts were embodied in the guise of a strange man who killed the noisy onlookers. The murder case in the movie theater was handled by a group of magicians, Kento, a good friend of Gojo's, and Yuji, who we already know. Outside the building, the mages came across 2 monsters. Kento is an excellent fighter, he figured out the enemy's weak spot and cut him down in one fell swoop. Yuji also handled the enemy very well, using cursed energy for the first time. The curses turned out to be former humans who had been reincarnated through magic. That intimidated schoolboy was able to find common ground with Mahito, who began to teach the boy about the magical world. Kento set about finding the curse's hiding place, while Yuji was sent to deal with the boy from the movie theater. A group of high school students were peacefully discussing movies when angry high school students broke into the office. Instead of enduring the bullying, Yoshino decided to stand up for his rights. Mahito showed Yoshino his human creations. By contacting the soul, the curse can alter the creature's physical bodies, turning them into cursed monsters. Yuji and his assistant have tracked down the schoolboy, now it's time to test what he's capable of. In the meantime, Kento has found the curse's hideout. There he began a battle with the spirit Mahito. Yuji's operation has begun, apparently Yoshino sees spirits after all, we need to discuss it with him. The fight with Mahito's spirit has reached a new level. Even though the curses look unnatural, there's still something human about them. Mahito's dream is to experiment with the mage's soul. He cannot be touched by Kento. Now Kanto will fight at full strength, stop giving in. We must destroy the spirit in one blow. Mahito had taught Yoshino that it was better to be friends with mages. Indeed, they got along quickly, over a discussion of movies. They even went to Yoshino's house for dinner, where they had a great time having fun and fooling around. After the party, Mom's corpse was discovered. Next to the body was a piece of facelessness lying around. The only one who was there for Yoshino at the difficult moment was Mahito. The spirits decided to ambush him. Yoshino proceeded to avenge his mother. In spite of his colleagues' persuasion, Yuji still comes to the school to help. He can't allow Yoshino to kill people with impunity. Newly minted friends turned into enemies in an instant. The mage needs to convince the boy that people aren't just walking shells, they live and feel, you can't just destroy them like that. Yuji tried to get the boy to have a heart-to-heart talk, and he succeeded. But then Mahito entered the field. He transformed Yoshino into a spirit. Yuji couldn't kill him and summoned the two-faced one. He asked him to cure the schoolboy, to save him from the curse. The faceless man refused the request. That's how Yoshino died, unable to exact his revenge. Yuji's thirst for revenge took over. All Mahito needs is to get the two-faced one on his side. In order to do that, he needs to make the guy lose his temper, to get him so desperate that he turns to the two-faced man for help. Attempting to change the guy into a monster, Mahito accidentally touched the faceless man's soul. Yuji took advantage of the momentary weakness and landed a series of blows, with Kento coming to the boy's aid. Nanami and Yuji relentlessly attack Mahito, but are unable to leave any marks. Noticing Mahito's short pauses, the pair attack at just the right moments, and they manage to take the cursed man down with punches. Mahito, on the verge of defeat, unlocks his domain and traps Nanami. Believing he is about to die, Nanami reflects on the events that led to his return to jujutsu technique as a mage. Just when he thought he had no desire to live, he once helped a young bakery cashier by exorcising a curse from her. Seeing her gratitude, he regained his purpose in life and began helping others. Yuji breaks through the expansion of the domain, as he is weaker on the outside than on the inside. Mahito accidentally touches Sukuna, who punishes him, leaving him with severe wounds. Mahito escapes into the sewers. Yugo, who has regained his body, joins Mahito and Geto to ponder their next steps. Geto declares that attempting to team up with Sukuna is too dangerous. The Kyoto Tech class arrives at the swap meet, and Yuji, to the shock of his friends, recounts his survival. The event consists of 2 rounds, the first of which is a competition between the 2 schools to see who can banish the most curses of the highest class. The Kyoto students, on the orders of their headmaster Gakuganji, plot to kill Yuji, but frame it as an accident. Satoru informs the teacher of the Kyoto students, Yudahai Mayori, that he suspects a traitor in the ranks of the Tokyo Jujutsu School, as Yugo has set up an ambush. Kyoto students begin their ambush on Yuji. The boy engages in a duel with a surprisingly happy to-do. New Megumi shoots down Momo's broom, and Nobaru and Panda tauntingly provoke her, but Megumi herself is attacked by Noritoshi. Kasumi prepares to fight Maki. Yuji continues to receive lessons from Aoi as they fight each other. Meanwhile, Nobaru is knocked out by Mekamaru's sniper shot. Panda begins to fight him. Panda contains 3 personalities that he can switch between. Mekamaru reveals that he is a young mage whose real body is barely able to function in exchange for the ability to use cursed energy. Panda's personality triumphs. Kasumi beats up Maki, underestimating her lack of cursed energy power. Nobaru wakes up and begins to fight Momo, using her straw doll technique. Suddenly she is knocked out by a shot from Mai's revolver. Maki overtakes Mai with Kasumi's sword. The twin sisters were members of the Zenin clan, Maki, having left the clan but still aspiring to rule it, and Mai, who remained in the clan and was forced to become a jujutsu mage against her will. When Mai tries to use her trump card to create an extra slug of cursed energy, Maki catches it with her bare hand. With no energy left, Mai and Nobaru are eliminated from the contest. Kasumi is immediately knocked out after Toge uses his power over the phone. Megumi and Noritoshi fight against each other in the old castle. Suddenly Toge uses his power as a special class of cursed spirit appears on the battlefield, and the evil users of cursed energy set up a large barrier. While Satoru searches for the creator of the barrier, Yoshinobu fights an evil master named Juzo, and Yudaheim runs to the aid of the other students. Hanami, a cursed spirit of a special class, repels the mage's attacks. As she is about to strangle Maki to death, Yuji and Aoi engage Hanami, while Panda and Momo take their wounded friends to safety. Yuji discovers the black flash technique he learned from Aoi. Hanami unleashes his other hand to fight them both. Aoi uses a secret technique, Boogie Woogie, the ability to swap 2 people or objects using cursed energy along with Yuji's black flash. Despite his injury, Hanami remains on his feet and prepares to unleash his own expansion domain when Satoru suddenly disperses the veil over the battlefield. Quickly severing Juso's limbs, Satoru unleashes a giant purple wave of cursed energy on the retreating Hanami. Elsewhere, Mahito finds another of Sukuna's fingers. Hanami barely manages to survive. While Tokyo and Kyoto teachers calculate the damage, Aoi convinces the students of both schools to continue the exchange of events. However, instead of individual battles, the two schools compete against each other in baseball. Freshmen at the Tokyo Jujutsu School, Megumi, Nobaru and Yuji are sent to investigate mysterious deaths. Meanwhile, Mahito and Geto continue their plans, bringing to life one of the cursed wombs, pictures of death. Two new curses appear and distract Yuji and Nobaru from the battlefield, leaving Megumi to confront a special class curse. He finds himself at the limit of his strength and recalls Gojo-sensei's advice, which prompts him to unleash his domain, the Chimera Shadow Garden. After defeating the curse, Megumi receives Sukuna's finger. Yuji then confronts Nobara while pursuing his opponent, which angers her opponent. Yuji and Nobaru are infected by the curse technique of Brother's Wound Decay, which poisons and degrades their bodies. Nobaru uses his own technique to overpower his brothers, and kills them both with Yuji's help. After the battle, Nobaru and Yuji meet Megumi to retrieve another of Sukuna's fingers, then the curse suddenly eats the finger before Yuji can react. Later, Satoru talks to Yutaheim about a possible traitor in the school. Soon Mei shows up at Yoshinobu's office with Aoi to recommend that the freshmen be classified as Class 1 mages.